right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Progressive Podcast. It is episode 97, and today we are dealing with mental health, well, men's mental health, specifically in the workplace. And if you're watching and if you're listening, please do take notes. Yeah, it's been quite interesting, actually, you know, when we're now talking mental health and Men's Mental Health Month, and yesterday was Father's Day, so shout out to all the fathers out there.
Shout out.
Big shout out, you know, and
great impacts that they have on
society.
On society.
Yeah, you know, and no icebreaker today, but I've got 10 global statistics on how men are affected in various areas. All right, so this is how we're gonna go down. All right, so cool. So life expectancy. All right. Globally, men have a lower life expectancy than women. On average, men live about 4.4 years less than women as of 2021. Suicide rates, men account for 75% of global suicide deaths, with particularly in high rates in countries like Russia, Japan, and South Korea. Workplace facilities, men are disproportionately affected by the workplace facilities, accounting for over 90% of fatal occupational injuries worldwide. Education, boys are less likely than girls to complete secondary education in many countries. Globally, girls outperform boys in reading, and in some regions, boys also lag behind in mathematics and science. Right? Incarceration rates, men make up of over 90% of global prison population, with higher incarceration rates in countries like United States, Russia, and Brazil. Homelessness, men constitute the majority of the homeless population worldwide, often representing more than 70% of homeless individuals in many developed countries. Victims of violence. Men are more likely to be victims of violent crimes, including homicides. Globally, 80% of homicide victims are men, right? Mental health. Men are less likely to seek mental health treatment. For example, in the UK, only 36% of referrals to psychological therapies are for men, despite the high rates of mental health issues. Employment. Men are more likely to work in high-risk jobs, contributing to higher rates of occupational injuries and fatalities. Jobs in construction, mining, and agriculture, which are male-dominated, have higher injury rates. By paternal leave, men take less paternal leave than women globally, with cultural and workplace norms often discouraging men from taking significant time off work to care for children. Wow.
That was a lot.
That is geez, that's crazy. That's very interesting. You know, it kind of gives you a bit of perspective when you know, if you want to spark a hot debate on challenging the patriarchy. Oh well, there you go. But there you have it. But anyways, Dumi, how was your week, bro?
Actually, what happened last? Oh yes, Scrum Week. It was all right. Nah, it was it was all right. Yeah, it's, you know, it's funny because the title of this episode is mental health in the workplace. And obviously my workplace, or my workspace at least, is at school, right, where with my team and my colleagues. And man, it's been a crazy term. And really, I'm just trying to kind of end off in the best way possible, given the circumstances. But yeah, last week, it was all right. It ended very well. Youth Day, Father's Day. I went to church. We had a youth conference on Saturday evening. And then obviously we had Sunday morning service, normal Sunday service. And yeah, it was just a blessing, you know, and you know, just kind of, it's always good to understand and just remember how important fathers are in society, and just men in general. And our pastor was talking about it afterwards, because we had a braai, like, for the men of the church after the service. And yeah, man, you know, there's a lot of pressure, but it's funny. My mom sent me a video on Instagram, a reel, where a guy was talking about the fact that there wouldn't be pressure if there wasn't juice to squeeze out of you. So you're only under pressure because there's value, there's something to squeeze out of you. So take that to heart and push forward, guys. And there will always be pressure. There will always be tough times, but tough time never lasts.
Yeah, only tough people last.
Only tough people last.
I just had to do
come
it.
on, man. You're having a deep moment.
I'm so sorry.
Man's pouring his heart out.
I'm so sorry. Like, I'm the type of person to not look at in like a serious situation. Like, I mean, like you might just
crack. Yeah.
No, man. Enough. But that's so real. Like, if there's no juice to squeeze, dude.
Then there wouldn't be pressure.
There wouldn't be pressure.
Yeah.
That's so real. I could relate to that. Like my week was it was actually quite. It was a lot. I don't want to lie to you. Yeah, it was a lot. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I even had to be like, you know what? I went to Beverly, psychologist, and I was like, listen, I've been seeing Bev for the last 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen,
it's a lot.
Need to see you twice next week, which is now this week. There's just been so much to process. There's things where I think there were a lot of realizations that I made, personally. Some tough decisions that I'm gonna have to make, and shift my energy somewhere. I mean, to this, I need to be here, and I need to be, also just present within my craft as well, a lot more. And there's some things that you think, you know what, maybe I am ready for this, and then you give it a chance, and then you realize, it's not quite there. Yeah, I don't really have the time for it. And it's not even a thing of I can make the time for it, but like, at what cost? At the cost of my purpose, at the cost of the obligations that I have. Crazy.
Something in your eye.
At the cost of my vision, my eyesight, my eyelashes are just killing me. But yeah, so for me, but also I think one of the most one of the best realizations that I made was I was looking at my sleep. And this was the best month of sleep I've had this year. And it came and this month there were things that I just stopped doing. I not stopped doing necessarily, but where I started doing less of certain things, contributing less. I mean, like right now, this month, I slept 44 minutes more than last month, which is crazy.
Across the board or on average?
On average. Like my monthly average so far is 45 minutes higher than last month, which is great and it's just crazy because that's the stakes are only getting higher in my degree. We about to be preparing for shoots. My rehearsals are ramping up and everything. But it's affected. It's been good. It's been good. But anyways, workplace, right? Mental health. One of the stats, let me just pull them up again, right? This was something that I had a chat with my dad about, right? And it was a heart to heart, and it was the last statistic where we're talking about men take less paternal leave than women globally, with cultural and workplace norms often discouraging men from taking significant time off, to care for their children, right? And this is a systematic issue. This is not even I'm not even trying to be political. This is just systematically speaking, they do this on purpose, right? If you can dismantle, if you want to dismantle society, you take apart the parents, you separate the parents.
Or the family. Family structure, basically.
Yeah, the family structure, which heavily relies on both parents being there.
Yeah.
And obviously, societally speaking or culturally speaking, the man has always been out there, right? But now, my dad was telling me that we're having a chat about immigration and everything, and all that jazz. And he was saying he could have gone to the UK when everyone was going to the UK, when people were fleeing, like leaving Zim when the economy was very bad, right? Starting to get bad.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't always bad. We had a decent economy for some time. And then And he was saying that he could have gone to the UK, right? Because at that time you could just go to the UK. You didn't need a visa. Right?
Oh yes.
Because of the colonial, because of the anyways.
The Commonwealth.
Yeah, Commonwealth and all of those
countries didn't have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point in time, but he said his friends that went are still working the same jobs 20, 30 years later. And they're like, it's crazy because, okay, my sisters and I, we're all in the same country, but different provinces, right?
Yeah.
So our families split up in 2 different countries right now. And then in the one country, 2 different provinces.
Yeah.
So there was a time when, earlier last month, when I went to go watch my sisters, they had a play, they were doing Sister Act, and, it was the Uplands Penryn Derby. So I was like to my dad, I was like, yo, my mom's passport was still being processed.
Oh, yeah.
So she couldn't tag along. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's link up in Mpumalanga. Let's go. Book a hotel.
Have a great time.
Yeah, have a great time. Chat as men, catch up really, and then support the girls as well,
Yeah.
So earlier that week, my mom was able to watch Sister Act, right? But like for the weekend, she couldn't come through.
That was when it was expiring.
Yeah,
at least she got to watch.
They kind of messed up the stamps of the passport or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
mad.
So, he was saying that his friends were asking like, dude, how are you able to, in the morning you're in meetings, in the afternoon you're on the sideline watching your daughters play, with your son, and then in the evening you're with your son having dinner, chatting live, and then the next day you're spending time with your wife. So within 48 hours, you've given undivided attention to your work obligations, to your parental obligations, and to your spousal obligations.
Wow.
Within 48 hours. And
that's
he was
impressive.
Yeah. And he was saying, no, that's the gamble, of course, of being an entrepreneur and, the work that he does, he's able to do, it allows him to do that. Right. And for him, he says, you know what, like he's had jobs where he could have been a Africa director. Right.
Of a particular
company.
Yeah.
But then that would require, already he travels a lot. No, he travels a lot less post-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, my dad would be traveling at least, 2-3 times a year.
Yeah.
For like 2 weeks or a month, or depending on the gravitas of the project.
Yeah.
Right. But then now this would mean my dad would have to live in another country and then bounce around. Right. But that would affect the current family ecosystem that we currently have.
Yeah.
So to go back to that statistic, you were saying that, listen, dude, you need to be able to see and decide for yourself, how active do you want to be in your family, in your children's lives? For me, it's different because at the time when I was in high school, my parents would make the effort, but then also the thing is that they had started a company a year before I went to high school.
Okay.
Right. So they started Strength Inc. in 2013. I went to high school 2014.
Oh.
So right. For them to build up the goodwill and to afford, they would come like maybe here and there, come watch me. But if we're comparing, not that I'm trying to make a comparison out of it, but like if we're looking at the amount of times my parents were able to come to support me versus the amount of times they were able to come to my sisters, it's very different.
Yeah.
2 different time zones, right? I've had some of my best nights and my best moments at high school, and my parents weren't there and my sisters weren't there because they were working, or my mom traveled.
Things.
Right? And for me, sometimes I wish they were there, right? But it is what it is, because if they weren't there, who was going to pay the school fees?
Yeah, like something
had to give.
Something gives in certain situations.
And because I were 2 younger sisters, it would affect. Yes, it affected me at a time. But if you're looking from a support structure, from like a, and this is the semantics as a guy.
Yeah.
When it comes to like who can really thug it out.
Yeah.
It's me compared to my sisters.
Yeah.
And I've just seen the impact it's made on my sisters when I'm there, or when my mom is there, or my dad is there, on them, like just being, even if it's like a small inter-house, whatever, they'll say, it's not that deep, but when
you're
there,
trust.
It's that
and
deep.
And sometimes they even when it's happening, they might not think it's that deep, but later on in life, they'll see how deep it is.
Yeah, and for me,
they really will.
Yeah, for me, it was a thing of like, wow, my parents sent me out. Like, I'll phone them and like, yo, this is the cool things that we did. Here's some photos. Here's some videos. Like, I'm not saying I didn't need my parents there, but I'd always wanted to be outside the home. I'd always wanted to go boarding and all of that. Even right now, being away from home, it's nice to go like attack the world.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you call, or like every second day, you know.
Yeah.
You call, yo, this is what happened.
Talk about it.
You talk about it. It's cool. So now the point I was trying to make was that to all the gents out there is that should you want to be a father, or should you just want to be a man in life, you need to understand that. And we had this discussion yesterday on the Sunday with Mnisi, and then I was saying to the gents that as a man, you decide the problems you deal with, you decide the obligations, you choose the obligations that you have, and you choose to what extent you pay that price at the end of the day, right? And the context we're using, we're talking relationships, but we're saying, you know, a girl likes to party and you don't like to party, right? You guys kick it off, great chemistry, everything, right? Now you guys are dating, but now you want to make her a homebody. She's not a homebody, bro.
Yeah, that's not who she is.
That's not who she is, right? But now you're trying to make her something she's not, right? And that's not good. So yeah, that's not good. Gents, don't do that. That's a pandemic within itself, man. Like
that's another thing.
Yeah,
that does affect your mental health. So
yeah, it does, because you be like, because you're a homebody, right? You're thinking to yourself, oh, what if she's doing this? What if she's doing that? Because you have this idea of the party scene and the club scene and everything, bro. And you know what? It is what it is. But you chose to ask her out.
At the end of the day, you chose that. You chose that.
Yeah, you chose to ask her out, and now you have to pay the price for that. So you choose what price you pay. Like there's a reason why you buy McDonald's instead of Steers Burgers, right? Because you find out the price and the value for money and everything. Same thing, right? If you're gonna tell somebody, I'm gonna marry you, like that whole thing of the ultimatum, we're gonna get married in the next 5 years or whatever. Chief, 5 years comes, and let's say things have been going according to plan. Like there wasn't some pandemic that swindled everything.
Yeah, like
because you can't really plan for a pandemic. I mean, you can, but anyways, conversation for another day. But point is, we need to plan for what we want in life. And we need to understand that we, to some degree, can choose the obligations and responsibilities that we have as men within our society, right? And what masculinity looks like for men is different amongst the different cultures.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like in Europe, there's this one culture where the woman pays lobola. Right.
Even in Mars, in one of the provinces up north, one of them, it's a matriarchy. It's not a patriarchy. Yeah. In terms of like traditionally and culturally speaking, So the woman actually has to go to the man's house, pay lobola, and actually like it was the whole thing. I learned it in 2019 when I was in driving school. No, 2022. Sorry, 2022 when I was in driving school. I learned that. It was kind of crazy.
Kind of interesting, because then now it's
even within the same country, like one province has that, then the rest of the provinces. It's different. It's like that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the marriage rates are like in that country, in that province.
That would actually be interesting to. I think I can try and find out when I go home, like in 2 weeks. That would be interesting.
See how the marriages are going,
because that would be. It would just be interesting to know, like what's the stats, bro? What's the stats?
Gents are playing chess, not checkers.
Ish. Yeah.
But yeah, it goes down to that thing. Thank you for raising this hunk of a guy that's gonna take care of me for the rest of my life. And vice versa. Shares the same sentiments. Thank you for raising this daughter. That's going to be the mother of my kids, and that's going to be my spouse till death do us apart, right? Yeah. So, and those are the things. And even in the workplace, it's very competitive. And I don't think people understand how competitive it is for men in there. And even Lou was telling us the other day, right? He was saying that that day, I was meant to leave at 5, right? But my colleagues matched the amount of sales I made that day. Yeah, so and I was like, nah.
Had to go another hour and a half.
I had to go another hour and a half until I left that office being on top.
Yeah. And that was a Friday, by the way. Yeah. Like, that's actually the craziest. It's a Friday. It wasn't even like a Thursday. It was a Friday, guys. Yeah.
So, exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, and it's because if you do better, you get paid better. Yeah. Right? to some degree. We're touching on this surface level. This is not
Surface,
a pay,
yeah.
We're not talking about gender pay gap or whatever the case is. That's a chat for another day.
Conversation for another
day. Conversation for another day. But you make X amount of sales, you make X amount of cash, you get X amount of commission.
Yeah.
Right? And equals X amount more money into your bank
account.
Right? Because love and emotions don't pay the bills. Harsh reality. Right? Because if it did, we'd all be on that Elon Musk net worth.
Yeah. That's another conversation we actually had yesterday.
Yeah.
With one of our leaders at church, actually. But that was after church, like after most of the people were gone. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Gotta sort out that that bank, you know. But it's a very competitive thing, man. And I think what makes it, and it goes back to that thing we said in the previous episode, right? And this is not even on other people may argue this, right? But you know how it was Chris Rock who said, there's someone called Chris Rock, right?
Yeah, comedian, yeah.
Yeah, he was a guy who got slapped by Will Smith.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it's a rock in a hard place. Yeah, get it?
Ish.
I'm sorry. My bad. I need to behave. But so what Chris Rock said was that men are loved conditionally and women are loved unconditionally, right? And
or women and children.
Yeah, women and children, right?
Yeah.
And men are loved on the condition based on the conditions that they can provide and protect, right? And that's not only financially. You know, and I want you to think about this. Would you still love your dad or any male figure in your family if they weren't fronting your bills every month? Would you still love them? Would you still love your dad, your uncle, right? Or your spouse if they didn't put food on the table consistently? Would you still love your partner, your dad, your uncle if they didn't show up for you consistently? Right? If they didn't show up for you at all, right? Would you still love them? Would you, how can I say this? Would you start to resent them if they didn't do the things that they do for you in your life? Let's start there. You know? And as a kid, you know, I'd hear other kids saying, "Oh no, I love my dad so much. You know, he bought me this, he bought me that."
Yeah.
You know, and for me, yeah, my dad bought me things, right? But he didn't buy me like all the nice things. It didn't make me work, bro. He was like, "You need to learn this," you know. But like, I'm grateful for my dad for that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's only as I started growing as a man where I understood phrases like "there's food at home." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where my dad would be like, "Nah, I don't want to go out today." But it's not because he doesn't want to go out. He wants to go out.
Oh, yeah.
He wants a break.
Oh, yeah.
But he can't.
Yeah.
Because who's going to front the bills?
Yeah.
If it's not me, who's going to front the bills? It's not the government, because if the government's fronting your bills, they control your household.
Real. That's true.
Right? At home, my parents are both business owners, right? Yeah, they may not work the full day, but they're still doing some work. Because if you let the government control you, dictate how much, when, and how you put your time, bro, they're running your household. You're no more the man of the house. You're no more the protector, the provider, you know. So it's so many semantic things, bro, that like, and we're not even going to get into the dating pool because that's even a whole episode on its own, you know. And I think going forward, you know, I think as men we need to be more accountable with each other. You applied for that job, and yes, you can complain, but this is the life you chose.
Yeah,
you know. Like, you can't go to the gym and complain, "Damn, my biceps are sore." Every day? Nah, you know, you caught 40 kgs, your biceps are going to be, of course they're going to be sore, bro. You know? But now, if it's politics, like there's no water at the gym, Okay, cool. That's beyond your control.
That's beyond your control. Yeah.
So I think like just within the workplace, man, it is. I think what we need to understand and what other people need to understand with men is just how competitive it is. Like it's just so, if you ain't winning, you're losing. This is not sport. In life there has to be a winner. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they just has to be a winner. And if there's not, and it's sometimes okay, cool, there might be a draw. You guys might just come up on top. But it's just that competitive because you want to see your family be happy. You want to see your partner happy. You want to see your kids happy. You want to see yourself happy to some degree, right? And what's harsh about us is that we're so hard on ourselves. We'd be like, no, I'll only be happy when I'm clocking 100K a month or a year. Okay, 100K a year is like about 8K a month. So let's say 500,000. I'm clocking $500,000 a year. I'll be happy. You get the $500,000, and you're like, damn. Okay, now what? And it's this constant cycle.
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to you continue to push forward, but also make sure you live in the moment at all times, because you'll never be happy with a particular endpoint. What will make you happy is enjoying the journey to that endpoint. So that's just something that I guess, how can I say? It's something that you work on as you continue to grow, because otherwise you will never be happy. Yeah. So that's just one of those things.
100%.
Yeah. In terms of what you said, in terms of the school thing, I had a similar experience. For me, it was more from the standpoint that my parents lived really far away when I first went to school. They didn't live like in Maputo. They lived in Tet. So in reality, I also had that thing where most of, if not all of my events or things that happen aside from just going to school and going to the sports field, my parents weren't there. But then maybe around grade 10, I think that's when my brother started going to Uplands Prep. That's when my mom moved to Maputo, because obviously my brother he has ADHD, right? So obviously now it's much better. It's not really a big issue, but at the time it was something that needed to be monitored all the time. And so she moved there, and then that's kind of when there was a bit more presence from my parents. And just in general, one thing that my mom always speaks to me about is the fact that when you are the firstborn, they're like, we're all doing this for the first time.
Every day.
We're all the three of us, and in the sense, the three of us is you and your mom and your dad. You're all doing it for the first time. And then by the time the second child or the third child or the fourth child, if you guys have it like that.
Other people have 11 siblings, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy.
By the time that happens, it's all a bit different. You know how to deal with things differently. And obviously, I also understand that in terms of like the workplace or the dynamics that were chosen, it's like my dad had to be elsewhere in order for me to be able to go to school, kind of thing, So so that's one thing. And then the other thing, which is actually now leaving my mind, and this was very important, and it's now leaving my mind. I might remember later. But it's gone. I tried to remember it, but it's gone.
It'll definitely come back somewhere.
Somehow.
But it's just an interesting thing, because you get that job, you're being.
Oh yes, I remember now. So during our conversation yesterday, we were speaking with Sia, one of the leaders at church, and he was just explaining that he was speaking to someone else, one of his people, and that person said that they realized that within the next 2 years they need to find a way within their businesses and workplaces for them not to need him all the time, so that he can actually give time to his family and his his children, his wife and stuff like that. So just that just kind of made me understand that it really is important to manage. Try to, obviously not everyone, some people are, people that work 9 to 5 now, because that's how the system works. There's people that make jobs, and there's people that work those jobs so that the value can be brought to the market, so on and so forth. And so wherever you are, you have to try, as you grow, you have to try and manage that to the best of your ability, so that you can also give where your responsibilities need to give. And it's not easy to do, and not everyone gets it perfect. I think that everyone has to find their own balance, right? Because the family structure that Mietani's parents have built over the last 22 to 23 years
24
is
actually
24. Yes, because 1 year before. So it's different from the family structure that my parents have built. But it's interesting because right now, even though actually my family is split between 4 countries, I think it's actually the best it's ever been right now. And I think also that comes with one thing that we can't rush like growing and learning. You'll make mistakes, you'll learn. We're just trying to help put these things into perspective so that you can start working on them. But it really takes time. Like, I'm 24, Mietani's 23, and I don't know about you, but like for me, in my family, like the 5 of us, it's really only in like the last maybe year, 2 years where it's like it's really just set in, and it's like, oh, okay, we've actually just found that sweet spot, and my dad has been able to like just kind of, not to say that things were bad before, no, they were just not as perfect. Not to say that anything is perfect, but now it's not near perfect. I know. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say, but it's 100%. Like, yeah, man, it's just to say that it takes time, but it does need to be worked on. And I think one thing that I learned from my dad, right, that he said is that as a man, at some point in your life, you have to have a period, whether that's a year, 2 years, whatever it is, where you're completely alone, or alone in the sense of like, you're not tied down to like a relationship or anything, where you're alone so that you can really figure out what you need. And for my dad, that did happen while he had a family, while he already had a wife and stuff. Like, all 3 of us, myself and my brother and my sister, were all born. But that was because, if I remember correctly, during the time when my mom moved to Maputo so that she could be closer to myself and my brother once my brother went to Uplands. So my dad lived in Nampula for probably about a year and a half, maybe nearly 2 years, alone. He lived alone. Yeah, we would go visit him every once in a while, but he lived alone. And so it was during that time when he actually sat down and he actually thought, like, what am I actually doing here? Where am I leading this? Not to say that it's not like he was being aimless before, but more of like, where do I actually want this family to go? Am I, what am I trying to do? Like, am I trying to have my kids be like in the next 5 to 10 years so that they can actually leave my house and I can actually be comfortable with just me and my wife eventually? So it's like, and those are things that you can only really figure out. Yeah, so those are things that you can only figure out when you're alone. And it's just one of those things that I've learned from my dad. And obviously for us, in a sense, we are in that phase. And it's a blessing to us in the sense that we can work on all these things now, because we're not necessarily tied down to anything. We don't have children, we're not married or anything like that.
Yeah, we ain't paying taxes like that.
And so we have to, but everyone has to have that moment. And sometimes that happens later in life because things are different. The times that our parents come from, expectations were slightly different. Like, because I'm 24 now, so if I remember correctly, my mom was my age. No, she was a year younger actually when she had me. That's how old my mom was, a year younger than me when she had me. And so it's slightly different. Obviously, the struggles were different. We're blessed to be in a position that we're in. Yeah. And so we can afford to have this time right now because this is the knowledge that's been brought to us, by our parents, by where we studied and the things we've been exposed to. And that's a blessing, of course. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It'll take time. We're not saying you're going to figure this thing out now, the workspace, your mental health. But you just have to take time and become knowledgeable on these things so that you can then work on them.
That's so real, man. Because as a guy, you gotta figure it out, and if you don't have it figured out, like, you're gonna end up in that Peter Pan.
Yeah, forever, kind of in a specific place. You might grow, but are you growing up?
Yeah. Might be like Peter Pan, and you might just never land, bro.
Oh man, yo guys, trust, we have these moments all the time, guys. All the time with the guys like myself and like the guys in our unit or Atile, Tulani. Guys, we have these moments all the time. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think we were actually searching up our lineage, right? And there's one common denominator in all of our lineages, right? And it all ties back to Shakespeare, bro. So like linguistically, we got it like that. Anyways, do me, bro. Hit us up with the quote of the week, man.
Yes. So the quote of the week, as it pertains to this episode, is good mental health in the workplace isn't just about managing stress or preventing burnout. It's about fostering an environment where employees feel valued, supported, and empowered to thrive both personally and professionally. By our good friend and colleague, Randy.
Now that's so real, man. And you know, when you look at men's mental health in the workplace, they always talk about work-life balance. That is its own market. It's its own market.
Oh, I see where you're going.
It's its own market. Like, people are making money from this thing called work-life balance. You think Michael Phelps had work-life balance? Think Michael Jordan had work-life balance? Think Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, all these guys that have made what we know, that have built, that are at the forefront.
Yeah,
they don't have
contributed to the infrastructure of society as we know it.
Yeah. So for me, I've given up on trying to have a balanced lifestyle. But what I've put my money, time, and investment in is the biological negotiables.
I see what you mean.
Food, nutrition, sleep, water intake, exercise. Right? Like, biologically speaking, what do I need to function at an optimum level? I know 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours is sleep, peak. And the sweetest spot is that 7:20, 7 hours, 20 minutes to 7 hours and 30 minutes of sleep is like, it's just right.
Yeah.
Right? And now things like, my social life, this, that, bro, like, I've got my guys. I've got my people.
Yeah, and we have our things, our moments.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a blessing. We live together, so it's like we just man. We just,
like, it's not even about this thing of being popular.
Going out all the time.
No,
that's not, you know.
No, a balance. Bro. Don't. And the thing is, this whole and it's a crazy take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You know, I'm open to discuss whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's a market, it's a business, you know. Work-life balance. I get it. It makes sense if you're trying to live an average life. And there's nothing wrong. If you want to be average, that's perfectly fine. That's what you want, right? Who am I? I'm just a dude here on a podcast, right? But if you're trying to be in that top 1%, if you're trying to be like the best in your country, the best in your demographic, the best in your industry, the best in your job position, the best in your company, in your market,
you have to go above and beyond.
You have to go above and beyond. And that will come at the cost of what they call, quote unquote, work-life balance. And this is what I find most of us fall into, right? And it does come at the cost of your mental health, right? And you know what? To some degree, if you have the right support structure, that's okay.
That's so real.
That's okay.
Got the right people around.
If you got the right people around you, it's okay to work 100 hours a week with the right people around, because they understand. Brothers working, this is free time for the boy. Free time for the boy is having a meal, right? And just looking at some numbers, or having a meal, or doing whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Free time and downtime for me is just sitting down and having a conversation over a glass of water, even juice, I don't care, right? But that's what it looks like for me. So
yeah, and it's interesting. I just thought of something in terms of the work-life balance, but also if you do work hard earlier, then the life part will be much easier later. Kind of like you'll get to the point where, for example, the guy that we were mentioning before, where he's gotten to the point where he's like, okay, in the next 2 years, I need to structure the companies and the businesses and so on and so forth in a way that now they don't need me. They don't need me there 24/7. You know, I can come in, sign this contract, or just 1 or 2 meetings, done. I go, you know, time with the wife, time with the kids, or in this case, visiting the kids, the grandchildren, so on and so forth. You know, so that in a sense, it's funny, but that work-life balance, maybe it's more of like if you look at the timeline of life, whereas like if the work is up here, then the life balance is out later.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, I get what you.
That's kind of like, maybe that's the work life. Because it's crazy. Because you could balance it like that, or you could do the work life balance on like a yearly basis. But then it'll take much longer for you to, or you'll always have to balance it like that. And you'll always have to balance like little by little. Whereas you could balance the work a lot for a certain period, 10 years, then balance the life, which is, it's give and take. It's, I think
you can't be like Hannah Montana, bro.
Yeah, you can't. We all want that. And I think one of the biggest, I think maybe this is where we can end off, but one of the biggest things that I've learned over the last few years is that a lot of times in society, people are told, oh, you can have everything, you can do everything, you can have it all. You can't, guys. You will never have it all. Trust.
No,
you
can't have everything, man.
You can't have it. Something has to go. There has to be a give and take. And you have to decide what that give and take is. And it's not about the person next to you. It's not about, oh, that uncle that you want to impress in the family. No, it's about you. You have to decide what the give and take is. Mietani mentioned this earlier. Let's get back to the men. As a man, you decide the problems that you're going to face. You decide that. And so let's just settle on this and just understand that you will not have the perfect life. You won't have everything you want. You can't have it all, guys. I know you want it. But you can't have it all. But you can balance. And you can understand how to work that. But that's up to you. And there's give and take.
The choice is yours.
Sacrifice is essential in life. There it is. That's, it's,
Yeah, because it's that thing. I was watching a video by Michael B. Jordan. It was an interview, and they were saying, so pretty much the premise of what he was saying is that I'm going to work hard now so that I can live every day like it's my birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like other people can live their birthday once a year. Other people live their birthday 365, 24/7. Do you get what I'm saying? But in order for you to have a soft life every day, you need to have a hard life every day.
Hard, bro. That's so hard.
Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, so it's the thing. Sacrifices. Guys.
Yeah, even if you're doing drug money, it's not easy, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Corruption ain't easy because every day you have to, it's in your mind. Like, yo, what if I get caught? So you always have to be covering up. You always have to be covering up.
And it's funny. I remember we had this, but this must have been like 3-4 years ago. We had this conversation where we realized that, you see, like someone who lives on the streets, bro, they have to be at the top of their game all the time. Or they're not gonna eat. Yeah. They're not gonna like have some sort of clothes.
They don't know where they're gonna stay. Yeah,
if you're in the streets, and I don't know this because obviously I've never been in the streets, but like you have to be at the top of your game all the time, or you might die like in 2 weeks, bro, because that's how long it takes for you to, without food,
I think,
without water, it's like 4 days, it's days or something like that. It's days, 3 days, something like that. But then without food, it's like 2 weeks, I think. So you might die in 2 weeks. If you're not on top of your game. So yeah, man, it's give and take, guys. It's
even less because like you're exposed to so much on the streets.
Oh yeah, it's less. Like I think maybe if it's like for me, for example, that might be the case. But in the streets, like you're exposed to the cold. You're exposed
to the cold, the carbon emissions. Anyways,
but it's not soft.
It's not soft. Yeah. You know, if you want that Lamborghini, that G-Wagon, even for them to get there, they had a hard life, bro.
Yeah.
The guy who made Lamborghini, he wanted to collaborate with Ferrari. The Ferrari guy was like, my guy, let's go back to making tractors because that's what Lamborghini used to do. And then in the movie, the thing is like you buy a Ferrari when you want to be somebody, but you buy a Lamborghini when you are somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Hard.
But it was spinning, bro. But
even with McDonald's, the founder, that's another film. Like, bro had to make it happen, bro.
He had to make it happen.
Yeah.
Now McDonald's is everywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One of the biggest real estate companies in the world. But if you want to be at that level,
that's insane. McDonald's, which is just like junk food, is actually one of the biggest real estate companies. That's insane to say. Man. It's just a yellow M, dog. Bro. It's just a yellow M.
It's the yellow.
But that's what matters most. That's what the founder said, anyways, or the guy that kind of
the Golden Arches,
the guy that cooked the McDonald's brothers. Like he said that because they asked him why us, like why, and it was like, gents, it's the M. That's what it is. Because anyone could have gone and come into their shop, copied their system, whatever. No.
But did they get cooked, or were they just not on top of their game?
Isn't that the same thing? Or are you saying that if they had are you saying that even if they were on top of their game, they could have been cooked? As in anyone can get cooked.
No, my thing is, did the guy Ray Kroc, right?
Yeah.
Did he finesse the McDonald's brothers? or were the McDonald's brothers not on top of their game? Because Ray Kroc didn't go start his own McDonald's thing.
Yeah.
Nah. He says, let's franchise.
Yeah.
Then he sat down with the financial guys and he's like, you're not going to build an empire of 12 cents you make off a burger.
Yeah.
You own the land in which it's built upon. So he did something that they weren't doing. So did they get finessed?
I mean, I guess from what I remember, they weren't really interested anyways, like in doing anything. They were just interested in their own thing. So it's, for them being at the top of the game was never what Ray Kroc wanted, I think is what basically.
Yeah.
But,
because McDonald's isn't in the business of making the best burgers. It's not scalable.
Not.
And it's hard to manage quality at scale. Anyways.
It's an interesting conversation.
Conversation.
Watch those films.
All right. We experienced some technical difficulties here.
Watch the film, guys.
Yeah, watch the film. Let us know what you think, guys. But anyways, we'll see you guys in the next episode. It'll be episode 98. We are 3 episodes away from episode 100.
Yes.
On the Progressive Podcast. It's been a crazy journey. But anyways, to all the gents out there, speak out. Let us know in the comments. Send us a DM. Drop us a chat or whatever the case may be. Jim and we will see what we can do.
Yes.
To make to have like a helpline or whatever.
Yeah. We're definitely.
To be able to help people out.
We gotta help each other out, man.
Yeah, and it's not only for the guys. We'll open it out to everybody.
Yeah.
And just.
It's that HBO special.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
The Help a Brother Out special.
The Help a Brother Out special.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we're gonna make that open. So do watch the socials sometime this week or sometime this month. We'll have like a helpline. And you'll be able to just book a quick 15-30 minute thing. And then we'll be able to chat and create a progressive community. Anyways, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and you know the vibes, man. Tell your dog. Maybe that's why your dog's not listening to you, because you're not playing them our episodes.
Real.
That's why they're not progressive. They're just a dog. They could be a progressive dog, but you're making them a dog. Anyways, cheers, guys. We'll see you guys in the